Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We know that the quote-unquote end of Warzone 1 is coming up here once Warzone 2 drops, as of right now on November 16th. And while this is the end of Warzone 1, if you want to call it that, we know for a fact that the game itself really is not going anywhere. It's not like come the drop of Warzone 2, Warzone 1 is just going to cease to exist. They're obviously going to be two separate applications, and if you ever want to, you can just go back and play Warzone 1 whenever. You'll obviously have access to all your Modern Warfare, Cold War, and Vanguard equipment, blueprints, you know, operator skins, whatever the case may be. All that's still going to be there, and it's still going to be playable, completely normal on all platforms. But recently we got some new leaks from Tom Henderson himself, who, as we know, has one of the most credible track records for leaks, rumors, and inside information for video games in general, especially Call of Duty. And with these new leaks, he details more information on what's going to be happening once we see that quote-unquote end update for Warzone 1 when Warzone 2 drops. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not the best news. Some of it we've talked about previously in passing. This seems to be a lot more solidified though, with a more based foundation, if you will, especially now that we're post Call of Duty Next and we've seen, or I guess haven't seen, certain confirmations for Warzone 2. So this is coming from insidergaming.com, Tom Henderson's new website for all this new gaming like leaks and rumors and stuff like that. And he talks about a leak that the Ghost of Hope talked about on Twitter, saying that with the launch of Warzone 2.0, Warzone Resurgence is going to cease to exist. Now that would mean that Rebirth and Fortune's Keep would be completely removed from Warzone 1, and we would just have Caldera, or we would just have one main map. We'll talk more on that here in just a moment. But we've talked about this, you know, a few months back. There was this leak going around that we could potentially see Rebirth removed and maybe even Fortune's Keep removed. As odd as that is, considering what we've had Fortune's Keep for two and a half seasons, something around that mark. Like, it's barely been in the game, it seems like, in the grand scheme of things. But according to Hope, yeah, Warzone Resurgence is going to be no more when Warzone 2 releases, and more seems to be indicating that that is going to be true. Well, obviously this is still a leak, this is still a rumor, so as always, be sure to take this with a grain of salt, because it's not 100% confirmed or official yet. Based on all the other information we either have or indirectly don't have, it does seem like that's going to be the case. Call of Duty Next has come and went. We've got our official reveal for Warzone 2 now in the rear view mirror, and they talked about how Al Mazrah was going to be this crazy new map, and it looks gorgeous, and I'm super excited to play it. They talked about how we have all these new features with the game, the updated gulag, the new weapons, the new gunsmith, all that. Guess what never got mentioned a single time, despite being currently the most popular aspect of Warzone? That's right, Resurgence. Not a mention of it, not a whisper of it. They completely ignored it, essentially. There was no mention of it whatsoever. So that to me says a lot, because they didn't say a lot, you know what I'm saying? Tom in this article goes on to say, the maps have been super popular, so removing them would certainly be controversial. However, this does line up with what he reported on quite some time ago, with the fact that when Warzone 1 sees its end update, that's what I'm calling it. It doesn't really have an official name, nor do I think it'll be like any major big promoted update or anything like that. But when it sees this end update, they're going to rename the game to Warzone Caldera. Now, you know, if there's no Resurgence, obviously all that would be playable in Warzone 1 would be Caldera, whether that's Battle Royale or Plunder or Mini Royale, whatever the case may be. Perhaps they'll update and cycle out the playlists for Caldera, but that would indicate that there's going to be no Rebirth Resurgence. Call of Duty also recently talked about how, you know, for the remainder of the season, we're going to see Caldera in the playlist updates pretty much all the way through the launch of MW2. And I can tell you right now, after MW2 drops, they are not going to be updating Warzone with, say, Verdansk, for instance, because that would, you know, obviously have a lot of players jumping off of MW2 and onto the old game, and that does not look good from a business standpoint. So they've pretty much confirmed that Caldera will not be going anywhere. And that would also mean that, you know, there's not going to be some grand end event where they blow up Caldera either, if the plans, as Tom is saying, are to have the whole application renamed to Warzone Caldera. So you can effectively, you know, cross all of those theories off your list. Verdansk coming back after Warzone 2 drops, or, you know, maybe Caldera being blown up at the end of Warzone 1 for the end update. probably not going to happen. I'd say 99% chance that's not going to happen, maybe even more, 99.99, right? So I would not get your hopes up there particularly. Also, by the way, as we're breaking all this down and going through the remainder of this blog that Tom has, if you guys are new to the channel, every single day, I got you covered with news, updates, leaks, loadouts, tips, everything going on in COD right here. So feel free to subscribe, turn on those post notifications. We are on the road to 1 million. And if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it. It does really help push the channel out and the videos out to new viewers. Now, obviously, if all this ends up coming to fruition, I can assure you that the Rebirth and the Resurgence player base is not going to be happy, because come Warzone 2, if there's no Rebirth or there's no Fortune's Keep or there's no Resurgence in general, that player base that likes that style of gameplay is not going to really have anything to turn to, because in Warzone 2, we have Al Mazrah, the new big map. In Warzone, or as it's also going to be known apparently, Warzone Caldera, you're only going to have Caldera, the big map. Maybe they have Resurgence on Caldera. That could be sufficient in some people's eyes. Maybe they have Resurgence on Al Mazrah. We're going to have to wait and see. But I already see tons of players saying why. And honestly, it's very simple. They know for a fact that right now in Warzone 1, Rebirth and Fortune's Keep is where the majority of the player base is, gaming. They know that Caldera was not a huge success and it's not really the most loved map ever, right? Resurgence is absolutely carrying Warzone's popularity right now. So by removing that, the players don't really have anything to play on Warzone 1. Naturally, they're probably going to jump over to Warzone 2 and get prepped for whenever a new Rebirth map may end up dropping for Warzone 2. Speaking of which, Tom has mentioned this in the past and we've covered this in previous videos as well, but he's heard that there are plans for a Resurgence map of some kind or a smaller map of some kind, but it could be 6 months after launch, it could be 12 months after launch. He said it is quite a ways away and there's no specific ETA on that, so I wouldn't expect anything very early on into the lifespan of Warzone 2 for that small map, update by any means. So maybe Resurgence is an LTM, but outside of that, Rebirth players, Fortune's Keep players, anyone who likes to play the small maps as opposed to the big ones, you might have some serious adjustments to make with this end update for Warzone. Luckily, it likely is not going to be happening until November, as Tom says, with the launch of Warzone 2. So it's still a ways away, but also, it is coming up here pretty quickly. We're less than a month away from MW2, and then after that, we only got a couple of weeks until, obviously, Warzone 2 and DMZ and all of Season 1 for MW2 drops on the 16th. That all being said, though, that is the new information that sort of is like the everything we know, if you will, about the end update for Warzone. A bunch of different leaks now all sort of lining up that we've heard over the past couple of weeks and months. If you guys enjoyed, though, again, let me know by dropping a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post noties so you can always stay up to date with all things going on in COD. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, Scuff, G Fuel, Gamer Advantage, and Control Freak, all the links will be down below, and COD WARZONE gets you a nice little discount on all of those. But again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.